زکات ماله کف قذبه و سجن لسانه. The Prophet says there are 7 characteristics. Whoever has these 7 characteristics, he is a perfect person. His iman is complete, and on the day of judgment, all the entrance and the gates of the heaven are open for him. The first characteristic that we discussed together during the month of Ramadan, if you remember, asbata wuzu'ah, improving the wuzu and having a perfect wuzu. We mentioned, brothers and sisters, that wuzu has a specific dua. If you cannot read it in English, in Arabic, then you can read it in English or whatever is your language. Our brothers and sisters helped us during the month of Ramadan, and we printed out in English and in Arabic as well. And the easy way to read this dua and gradually memorize it is to attach it next to the place that you usually make wuzu. When you make wuzu, you take a look at the dua. And the hadith says, asbata wuzu'ah, means most of the time having wuzu. It is kind of protection against the temptation of the shaitan. When a person has wuzu, he has better connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second characteristic is ahsana salatah. The Prophet says improving the namaz and prayer. He doesn't say performing prayer. Everybody performs namaz, prayer.
At that time.
Even nowadays, prayer can be for some people kind of addiction. They don't benefit from their namaz, their prayer. How we can realize that our prayer was effective and accepted? Any idea? How we can realize that our prayer was a beneficial, correct prayer?
If we don't do any guna between 2 namaz.
Ahsantum. What else? We, after prayer, as first my brother said, khushu' al-qalb, the heart will be humble and we feel fear from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is right. The other one does not committing sin. If the prayer is correct, so how we accept the invitation of shaitan, right? There is conflict between these two. And the other point that we can realize our prayer was accepted is that after prayer, brothers and sisters, we feel that we have more confidence. Our connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to the source of power is stronger. We feel that we are able to pass the right way. Then, for the third characteristic, since we already discussed these items, we move to the next one. The third characteristic, brothers and sisters, do you remember? Adda zakat male, paying the obligation, the obligatory donations. This is very important test throughout the history, not only among Muslims, but also in the previous religion as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the rizq, and then there is a portion, there is a share in our rizq, in our wealth, to donate for the needy people, to donate in order our religion to be run. You know that if the religion, alhamdulillah, is managing as program in masjid, for example, if the maraji, if the madaris ilmiya, huzai ilmiya, all they need the donation and support. This is very easy to understand. We discussed this matter and we said that each person who is mature, who is baligh, and also is working, he has to have a certain day during each year. For example, the first of Ramadan, or the last day of Ramadan, or any other day that is convenient, or for example after his official tax day, because during the tax he already calculate all his income and outgoing, right? So it is easy to calculate the khums as well. For example, if for example Monday is his tax day, then Wednesday can be for his khums day as well. And if there is any question, because there are a lot of fiqhi questions, jurisprudence questions, yes.
I was just wondering, for the Islamic financial year, is it the same as? Can it be in a Gregorian month? Yeah, for example, tax month, April 15, instead of Shawwal 15.
Yes.
It can be.
Yes, you can do it. Every year, we need to have a financial year. Okay. Then if there is any question regarding this matter, inshallah we can discuss it, inshallah, individually, because there are a lot of questions regarding the tax and regarding the khums. The next point that the Prophet, peace be upon him, mentions it is kaffa al-dhabah. This is the fourth characteristic, to control our anger. This is the key for success. Brothers and sisters, in our daily life, in our communication with family, in our communication with our environment, in the work area, for example, in school, there are a lot of cause, a lot of reason that may cause the anger for us. This is usual. What the Prophet says, part of the prosperity is that you can control your anger. Now, I would like to hear from you how we can control our anger. A person, we realize and we feel that this person, he or she, for example, made a cruel, a zul, right, upon our right. Now, this is our right to be angry. We deserve it. How we can control ourselves?
Giving them excuses for their acting that way. Maybe something's wrong with them mentally. You give them excuses, saying maybe this person isn't all there. This person's having a bad day.
Mm-hmm. Great. Very good idea. What else? You should not be biased, right? The person who is arrogant, definitely he will be angry right away. But the person who is humble, he will give some right to the other party as well. Maybe I was wrong. One of the great scholars with his friend, they were going to the public shower. At that time, there was not private shower each house. They didn't have shower. There was a public shower in the town. And at that time, for example, every week, they were able to go to the shower. And it took time, and also they needed to pay money for that. And changing the clothes is important even at that day, because there was not any washing system like today, right? And these two, they went to the shower, the public shower. After the shower, they paid the money. It took hours of their time. They changed their clothes, and with new clothes, they were leaving the public shower. At that time, the ash, you know ash, right? When they cook food, they use the wood, and then they throw out the ash. The person from his roof, he was throwing out the ash, and he threw out the ash by accident on the scholar. He just came out from the shower with white clothes, not on his friend. What is the reaction of this scholar? If we would, instead of him, what was our reaction? Oh, after a week, we went to the shower, we paid, we changed our clothes, right? And we don't have any machine system, what do you call it? To wash our clothes again, right? It is very difficult, they wash with the hand. So what is our reaction?
Get mad.
We look and we say whatever he deserved it, huh?
Yeah.
But what is the reaction of this scholar? Subhanallah. Look, the educated people, the disciplined people, subhanallah, all their act is lesson. He even didn't look up to see. He even didn't stop. He continued walking. His friend asked him, subhanallah, why? This is his fault. He made a great mistake. Why you don't react? He said a poem. بگفتا من مستحق آتشم ز خاکستری روی در هم کشم. I deserve the hellfire on the day of judgment. Now you want me to react for only ash? Right, خاکستر? The ash has no reaction. I am a sinful person. I deserve the hellfire. Subhanallah. So if a person is humble, brothers and sisters, then he can control his anger. Especially parents and all your youth, inshallah, in the future, in short time, you will be parents. Brothers, sisters, for the education, the first point, the first requirement is to be able to control your anger. Because children, they are making mess, right? This is their characteristic. But we have to control, especially in the public program, masjid, parties, right? In the party, for example, your child made a mistake. He broke the dish of the food, and for example, he made a big mess, and also he's crying, right? He's yelling. What do you want to do? How you want to control? In the airport, in the plane, when there is a mistake, there is a error. First, when they educate in all the plane before the takeoff, what they say? They say that if there is any breathing problem, oxygen problem, when the what they call it, the mask comes down. First, if you have child, first you have to use the mask for whom? For yourself, not for the child. Yes, he deserves, he is your child. But if you are not okay, if you are not stable and calm, you cannot help the other person. So first control yourself. First control, if you want to help others, you have to be strong to help others, right? So the person who wants to be a useful person in the family, a useful person in the society, a useful person in the school, in the college, for example, he has to have the patience, inshallah. So this is the fourth characteristic. And about the fifth characteristic, كف غضبه وسجن لسانه. The Prophet says the fifth characteristic for the person who is complete is to, this is the exact translation of the hadith, then we will interpret it, to put the tongue in the jail. Control the tongue strictly, seriously. The Prophet used the word sajn. Sajn means jail. We have hadith that early in the morning, brothers and sisters, the tongue asks the other organs, how are you? The other organs reply to the tongue, Alhamdulillah, we are fine. If you don't make any trouble for us. The Prophet, peace be upon him, says on the day of the judgment, the majority of the hellfire people, Ahl Jahannam, they go to the hellfire because of the two smallest organs, the tongue and the private. Subhanallah. The majority of the hellfire people. Among the ahadith, brothers and sisters, one of the prosperity is that the person be able to control the tongue. One of the scholars was invited in the majlis gathering, and one scientific and religious issue came up, and everybody was talking about that issue and showing up their knowledge, and this scholar was quiet, silent. Finally, at the end of the gathering and majlis, somebody asked him, MashaAllah, you are knowledgeable. You are the most knowledgeable person here in the meeting. Why you are quiet? Everybody is giving the opinion, but you are silent. He said, because nobody asked me. Nobody asked me. Why I say something that they are not ready and prepared to that. One other scholar was invited in a garden with his friend, one of his old friend invited him. After the greeting, he opened his book and started studying. His friend said, oh, MashaAllah, after a long time I invited you and now I expect you to talk together, hanging out, talking, having fun, making jokes, for example. Why you are quiet, you want to study? He said, the purpose of the invitation is to see each other, which happened already. And also about the greeting, and Alhamdulillah, I'm very happy and thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you and your family, Alhamdulillah, are doing well. Now, let me spend my time and read my book. So controlling and watching the language is very important. Brothers and sisters, we have a saying in Farsi poem, تا مرد سخن نگفته باشد عیب و هنرش نهفته باشد. The person who is silent and quiet, we cannot evaluate him. We cannot realize in which level he or she is. After he starts speaking, then we can understand his value, we can understand and realize his knowledge, for example. And in the ahadith, brothers and sisters, we have many hadiths to improve and betterment our language. One scholar at the old time, he had a donkey, right? And for his donkey, in order he run the donkey, he used to use a very respectful word for the donkey. We call it in Farsi, instead of داخل شو, we say it بفرما. بفرما means, for example, you first, or in English, for example, here you are. Very respectful for word. Somebody saw this alim, this scholar, and asked him, excuse me, this is a donkey, and why you are using this respectful word? Pay attention. He said, because my tongue, my language gradually, pay attention, gradually will be used to these words. Pay attention. I want to use good words in order to be able to use the good word automatically everywhere. Now, if I use a street word, for example, or a very low word here, then gradually in future, in other circumstances, automatically maybe I use that bad word. Inshallah, we will explain the last two characteristics for the perfection and the complete person next Friday. Now, if there is any question regarding these subjects or regarding the fiqh and ahkam, inshallah, raise up your question. And before that, in order to remember your question, I would like to mention two mas'alah. The first mas'ala is about the ghusl. The person who made the recommended and mustahab ghusl does not need to make wuzu. What are our mustahab ghusl?
Jum'ah ghusl.
Jum'ah ghusl,
15th of Shaban,
15 of Shaban,
Shab Qadr.
Laylatul Qadr, the night of power. So with this kind of the ghusl that we have a specific hadith among that about the recommendation of that ghusl, after the person makes the ghusl, does not need to make wuzu, and then he can pray namaz. Okay? And also, of course, about the ghusl wajib, obligatory ghusls. So the person who makes the obligatory ghusl wajib, then after that he or she does not need to make wuzu. What about the regular ghusl? For example, today is Wednesday, and the person made use the shower, and also he made the intention of ghusl of Wednesday, for example, or for example the 3rd of Shawwal. Then after the shower, he wants to make namaz, he wants to pray. Should he make wuzu or not? Yes. He has to make wuzu. Okay. Any question? Yes.
Since you mentioned about the mustahab ghusl, if somebody do the ghusl early in the morning for Friday, he's going for work at 6 o'clock, can he can, if he didn't do anything, going to the bathroom, anything, can he pray Jummah namaz with that ghusl? That will count?
Yes. If a person, even not only ghusl, makes the wuzu early in the morning, then for the dhuhr, he still has the wuzu, and the mubtalat didn't happen. Then he or she can make the wuzu, can make the namaz and prayer without wuzu. Yes.
As far as what can nullify the wudu of a person, aside from can someone, by speaking ill about someone else, does that nullify the wudu?
What is speaking what?
If someone speaks ill about someone else, behind their back, say something ghiba, does it affect their wudu?
No. This is a good question. Let's make a short list from the mubtalat of the wuzu. What causes make the wuzu batil or wait? Can you help me with making the list?
Going to the bathroom.
Yes, going to the bathroom. Okay.
Sleeping.
Sleeping.
Passing gas.
Passing gas. What else?
Blood, if one bleeds.
Bleeding. Void the wuzu or not? No. Bleeding does not void the wuzu. But if during the making wuzu, while you are making wuzu, you are bleeding, then the wuzu can be void. How? For example, you are washing the face and you are bleeding from the nose. The water of the wuzu, while you are making wuzu, if the water of the wuzu mixed with the blood, then your wuzu is void. But if you finish making wuzu with the pure water, after that, however your face is wet, still wet, but you have completed the wuzu, then you are bleeding, it is fine. And in order to pray, you just need to clean the blood and wash it properly according to faith. Means you have to clean it with water, not with napkin. And after you remove the blood with water, you need to wash it with the cold water twice. And since usually we take it with hand, twice with the hand. After you remove it. For example, first you clean up the nose completely from the blood. The blood has stopped. Now, for the second time and for the third time, you wash the face. Now it is pure. Okay?
What if it's under cold water?
Yeah. That when you take it with your hand, this is not cold.
Okay.
This is under cold.
Okay.
Unless you take your face under the pipe of the water, then it will be considered as a cold water. Yes.
Does Ghusl Ziyada also replace like wajib? Can you pray with the wajib salat with it?
Yes, ghusl ziyarat. For example, if you are going to enter haram Imam Hussein alayhi salam, you make the ghusl, you enter the haram, and also you can pray with the same ghusl. Without ghusl.
So only for Imam Hussein haram?
No, all A'imma alayhim salatu wasalam. Yes. All 14 maximum. Okay. We have still few minutes for
the ghusl.
namaz. Yes.
For the example you gave, ghusl of, for example, on the Wednesday. Wudu fi nafsi itself is mustahab. Ghusl is not mustahab by itself. So if I want to do mustahab ghusl Wednesday, it is not in the Sharia. So it doesn't have any meaning.
That's why we cannot consider it as a wuzu.
Correct. So if I want to do the ghusl of Wednesday, there is no benefit, there is no thawab for it.
Inshallah there is.
Yeah, if inshallah yes, but not in Sharia.
Yeah, it is not. However, every day Brother Mamdani has hadith and has a special dua.
Yes, but what my point was that there is a list of
Yes.
ghusl after
Mustahab
which you don't
ghusl.
need to do ghusl.
Yes.
You don't need to do wudu.
Yes.
You should have that list. If your ghusl is in that list, you
Yeah.
don't do wudu.
Yes. The important which are recommended and mentioned in the ahadith. For example, as we made a list here,
Yes.
right? Ahsan. Yes.
So, just going back to the bleeding matter. So, if someone is bleeding and they cannot stop the bleeding to pray, do they wait till it stops, or and it's prayer time? Do they wait till it stops, or can they pray while it's still bleeding?
Very good question. Everybody hear the question, right? He has to wait. He has to wait until what time? He has the time to wait.
Before the next prayer?
No, before qaza time. Before qaza time. Now, briefly, would you like to help me to make a list from the deadline of each namaz? What is the deadline for the Fajr prayer? Sunrise. The deadline for Zohr and Asr prayer? The deadline for the Maghrib and Isha prayer? Midnight. Okay? Not midnight means 12, no. The natural midnight. Means you have to calculate how many hours is from sunset to morning to Fajr. Okay, then you have to divide it in two, and in the middle it is the natural midnight.
I've heard that some maraja for before the cutoff for Dhuhr and Asr is sunset, and some have said it's not sunset, it's until it's dark. You can see there's still that period of time before Maghrib, like sunset and Maghrib.
For Zuhr and Asr?
Yeah.
Yes, about the Asr, Sister Maya, we have this rule, not about the Zuhr. About the Asr, we have this hadith that still, if it is not completely dark, you can make the intention of Ada, or you can make the intention of Mafid Zimmah. Not about the Zuhr. About the Zuhr right after sunset. Good point.
Did we complete the Mubtalat list? We did 3. There are more than 3?
I think there's 7.
Going unconscious.
Going on.
Mhm.
And the other two najasa which belong to the ghusl.
Yes. When the ghusl wajib, the obligatory ghusl becomes obligatory on us, then they void the wuzu as well.
What is the difference in intention for the prayer between qada and qada ma fi dhimma? Or is it the same?
Yes, very good question. Qaza means the time is done and I am remaking my missing prayer. But ma fi dhimma means whatever, in English, whatever is obligatory on me. I don't know at this moment it is qaza to make the intention of qaza and missing, or it is not missing time. It is, for example, still I have the time, because we do not know, we don't have the knowledge exactly, then we make the intention of mafid dhimma. Especially at the end of, for example, at this moment, a person wants to pray the Asr, right? We still have few minutes to Maghrib time, right? And we are not sure that the time is done or not. In this short time, he can make the intention of Mafid Dhimma.
What if it's making up prayers from a week ago?
So definitely Qaza.
Qada, not qada ma fi dhimma.
No, definitely Qaza.
Okay.
Qaza.
Yes.
Okay, Qaza means missed prayer.
Okay.
Hmm.
I have a question about prayer. So if you work like 8 to 5 or whatever your schedule is, and you have like an hour or half-hour lunch break, for a woman, is it better to pray like in your office, but you're going to be visible to other people, or is it better to wait and go until you get home or are off work and can go somewhere more private?
Good question. Everybody hear the question. If you have the time, and by the time that you arrive to your home, your namaz will be on time, then this is up to you. But if by the time that you arrive to your home, you will miss the time, you will miss the namaz, the prayer, then you have to pray at the office. One person came to one scholar or Imam, I am not 100% sure, either Imam or a great scholar, and asked him a question. I need you to help me and show me a solution. I am very poor. I have financial problem. What should I do? He said, pray on time. The person asked him, I also would like to have a successful marriage, inshallah. Can you show me a key? He said, pray on time, inshallah. For the second question, he said, in future, I would like to have a very wealthy, barakat, life and prosperous life, what should I do? He said, pray
On time.
on time. Okay.
We talk about khums and zakat. I know about the khums, but I don't know about that much about the zakat. Do we have to pay zakat, and what is the condition of zakat?
Great, very important question. In the most of the hadith, the word of the zakat, especially in the Quran, the word of the zakat is used more than the word of the khums. What is the difference between these two? Anybody can help us? What zakat and khums?
Percent of your income, it's a fifth, 20%.
Is it zakat is sadaqah and khums is obligatory tax?
Mhm. Zakat, brothers and sisters, in the past, zakat is obligatory on the farming and raising the animals, such as sheep, cow, for example. But khums, as she mentioned, our sister, it is obligatory on the income. On the income. So nowadays, practically, we do not have example in our life for zakat. We have example for the homes. Everybody works with the money, not in the farm. For example, those who work in the farm, zakat is obligatory for them. 1/10 of the, for example, wheat, 1/10 of the rice, they have to pay, or dates, for example. Okay, whatever they are growing. But in our circumstances, it is homes. So that's why usually in masjid, in minbar, we do not talk about the zakat because it is wasting of the time. Practically, we do not have anybody here that work in the farm, for example, right? That's why we are talking about the homes.
What about gold? Gold savings? Isn't that zakat based? Not homes, isn't it?
That is homes.
Is that homes? Gold?
Yes.
So if a lady has jewelry, she needs to pay khums on the jewelry.
They are working with the money.
I thought it was
The person who is working with the gold and silver here, they are practically working based on the money, not based on the gold.
So what his question was, zakat is on gold and silver if it is used as a currency.
Yes, but yeah, we usually
Don't have
nobody
any.
work as a currency. That is as a good.
Okay.
So khums is on all the things, right? If I have a clothes I didn't wear for a year, I have to pay khums on that dress, or the food, or the stuff in my
If
house.
it is not used,
Yeah, if it's not only money. Khums is not only on money, right?
the house, the car, one house, one car, and also all the
Necessary.
necessities of the house. Homes is not obligatory on them. But if a person has some other investment, the homes is obligatory. Or he bought some necessities that he really does not need them and didn't use them even once throughout the one entire year, then the homes is obligatory in that circumstances.
Like we go to Pakistan or any country, buy our dresses because we know we cannot go every year buy. So we bring extra clothes, and we know that I'm not going to wear till 1
Mhm.
year. I'm going to save for 2-3 years. So I have to pay homes on those clothes, right?
If you wear once, even once
Yeah.
a year, that is enough. You
Yeah.
don't need to pay. But
Okay,
if
fine.
you don't,
Then
and 365 days pass, then you have to pay
Okay.
homes. Okay, it is namaz time, inshallah. We will continue our topic and discussion, inshallah, next week.
thank you.
May Allah accept from all of you ببركة الصلوات